The Galactic Council chamber fell silent as Admiral Thexvar of the Zephyrian Empire finished his plea. His four arms gestured frantically, his chitinous exoskeleton gleaming under the artificial lights as he addressed the human representative seated across the negotiation table. Commander Hayes. Thexvar's translator rendered his clicks and whistles into standard galactic. We surrender. Our fleets are scattered, our worlds defenseless. We ask only for mercy. Spare our civilians, our children. We know humans possess compassion. Show it now. Commander Sarah Hayes sat motionless, her dark eyes studying the holographic display floating between them. The tactical readout showed the remains of the Zephyrian fleet. 17 disabled cruisers, 43 destroyed vessels, and a home system left virtually unprotected after their failed surprise attack on the human colony of New Geneva. The other council members, representatives from a dozen different species, watched with keen interest. This was the first time in galactic history that humans had been pushed to full-scale war. The Zephyrians had made a critical miscalculation, believing the young species from Earth would be easy prey. Mercy, Hayes repeated, her voice carrying no emotion. She stood slowly, her uniform crisp and movements precise. Admiral, your species launched an unprovoked attack on our colony. You targeted civilian infrastructure, hospitals, schools. You killed 37,000 people, including children. Thexvar's mandibles clicked nervously. We were desperate. Our resources depleted, our world's dying. You thought wrong. Hayes's interruption was surgical in its sharpness. You ask for mercy, but mercy is a luxury neither of us can afford right now. The Galactic Council's mediator, a tall, ethereal being known as Counselor Veltar, leaned forward. Commander Hayes, surely there must be some accommodation. There is. Hayes touched her datapad and the holographic display shifted. New tactical information flooded the chamber. Shipping routes, resource distribution networks, terraforming schedules. Admiral Thexvar, your people are dying because your leadership has been criminally inefficient for the past 3 centuries. The chamber erupted in confused murmurs. This wasn't the direction anyone had expected the conversation to take. Hayes continued, her tone shifting from cold to clinical. Your homeworld of Zephyr Prime has a toxic atmosphere because your industrial revolution prioritized short-term profit over environmental sustainability. Your outer colonies are starving because you never established proper supply chains. Your military is outdated because you spent resources on ceremonial fleets instead of research and development. Thexvar's primary arms trembled. This is not what we came here to discuss. But it's exactly what we need to discuss. Hayes manipulated the display again. You want mercy? Here's what mercy looks like when filtered through human efficiency. The hologram now showed a comprehensive reconstruction plan. Atmospheric processors for Zephyr Prime. Agricultural enhancement protocols for the outer colonies. A complete overhaul of their resource distribution network. We're going to fix your civilization, Hayes announced. Not because we're kind, but because it's the most efficient solution to ensure this never happens again. Counselor Veltar's luminescent features flickered with surprise. Commander, this is unprecedented. So was their attack on New Geneva. Hayes turned to face the full council. The Zephyrian Empire has been a destabilizing influence in this sector for generations. They've launched 17 territorial disputes in the last 50 years alone, all stemming from their systemic inefficiencies. We're going to solve that problem. Admiral Thexvar's voice cracked through his translator. You would help us after what we did? Help? Hayes's expression remained impassive. No, Admiral, we're going to optimize you. She pressed another control, and the display zoomed in on specific details. Human engineers will oversee the atmospheric restoration of your homeworld. Human agricultural specialists will establish sustainable food production on your colonies. Human logistics experts will redesign your entire supply chain infrastructure. The implications began to dawn on the assembled delegates. The Velkari, representative, a being that resembled a walking crystal formation, chimed softly. This would essentially place the Zephyrian Empire under human administration. For approximately 50 years, yes. Hayes nodded. Long enough to rebuild their infrastructure, retrain their workforce, and establish governmental systems that prioritize efficiency over tradition. Thexvar slumped in his chair. You would make us vassals. We would make you functional. Hayes's voice carried the weight of absolute certainty. Your current government will be dissolved. Your military will be restructured. Your educational system will be redesigned to emphasize critical thinking and resource management. Your industrial base will be rebuilt from the ground up using sustainable technologies. The chamber fell into stunned silence. Several delegates shifted uncomfortably, suddenly aware that they were witnessing the birth of a new type of galactic power. This is not mercy, Councillor Veltar observed quietly. No, Hayes agreed. This is something far more valuable. This is a solution. She turned back to Thexvar. Your people will live. Your children will grow up on worlds with breathable air and sufficient food. Your species will become productive members of galactic society instead of raiders and pirates. You'll thank us in 100 years. The Admiral's mandibles worked silently for several moments before he found his voice. And if we refuse? Hayes's smile was slight but unmistakable. Admiral, your military is destroyed. Your economy is in ruins. Your homeworld is dying. You came here asking for mercy because you have no other options. She gestured to the holographic display. This isn't a negotiation. This is a status report on your future. The only question is whether you'll cooperate willingly or if we'll have to implement these changes over your continued resistance. The weight of inevitability settled over the chamber like a heavy blanket. The other species present began to understand something fundamental about humanity. They didn't just win wars. They solved the problems that caused wars in the first place. Admiral Thexvar looked at his hands, then at the comprehensive reconstruction plan floating before him. His species had come here begging for mercy, hoping for a graceful way to surrender with some dignity and tact. Instead, they were being offered something far more terrifying and far more valuable: competence. Thexvar's voice was barely a whisper. We accept your terms. Commander Hayes nodded once, sharp and final. Excellent. Reconstruction begins immediately. Welcome to the most efficient surrender in galactic history. As the council session concluded, delegates from across the galaxy filed out in thoughtful silence. They had witnessed something unprecedented, a species that viewed mercy not as forgiveness, but as the systematic elimination of the conditions that made conflict inevitable. The humans, they realized, didn't just win wars. They solved them,